Well, hello! And on that note, hot toddy that it will be. Welcome, wayward gamers, to the Emporium. It is Wednesday, and we're playing. We're here. Kinda. You know, welcome to the Emporium for the Wayward Gamer. I am Jay, also known as Neofet3. I am your host. Today on Saltmarsh Legends, we're doing something a little different here. We're actually just having a casual campaign chat. Since we're kind of still in a mid-season hiatus, we missed you all so much that we just wanted to come back and say hi. Don't forget us, and talk about.
And we really like hanging out.
And we like hanging out. We like each other, which sounds, wow. But we want to hang out. We want to talk about the campaign. I got a whole bunch of questions, and this is going to be interactive. So chat. If you are hearing me, you get to ask questions, and we're hopefully going to add those into the question line. But if you catch us later on VODs, hey, hopefully this is entertaining enough. It's not going to be a long session. We'll see how it goes. But let's introduce ourselves and see how everyone is doing. So we're going to go around. Jim, how are you doing? What's new?
Jim's good. So Jim, I'm Huckmer on Twitter. In the campaign here, I play. Seem to be having a little bit of an internet issue.
Of course, because I went to you, and it's going to be that way.
Yeah. So playing Glassstock Steelcloak, our dwarven warrior who just came out as a caster.
Yes.
We're all very proud of him.
Yes, it's okay. You're accepted.
Coat of many colors.
Yes.
Thank you, Jim. Jeff, how are you doing these days?
Got my thumb.
I'm sorry.
That's how I'm doing. All right. No stitches required. So that's it. That's how. So yeah, doing good. Having a grand old time.
Good. And how is Aviro doing these days?
Well, I mean, he's indoors now, so he's quite content. The only possible better place than indoors is indoors at his school, which he is miles and miles and miles away from and won't be at. So this is
or a library,
good as it gets, or a library. I suppose that's better, but he is
second best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's how Aviro's doing.
Excellent, thank you, Carrie. How are you doing these days?
I'm great. I am just kind of now officially on my spring break. I get at least a long weekend, so that's awesome.
Yay!
Yeah. And then I play Bryn Broadriver, and she is also having a time taking care of our good friend Rocky. And that's always fun. And yet she's starting to see a side of Rocky that is a little concerning, but she is in denial mode hard. And that's where we're at. So
well, and I left it at a significant cliffhanger.
yeah.
And there might be a lot of questions with that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Bryn might
There's
have a
some
lot
stuff.
of questions about that cliffhanger.
Yeah. Bryn's got lots of questions for her kid.
So
Yeah.
I will spoil this one thing to help the timeline a little bit. As we left off, Bryn was searching because we have to back up slightly. Why was Bryn running to the rooftop again?
So Bryn was very concerned because Rocky is a young black dragon, and so he's growing very quickly, and he is intellectually growing very quickly as well, in the form mainly of learning a bunch of new languages. And he learned, what was it?
Gnome?
Elvish?
No, he was
No.
Learning gnome.
No,
Yeah,
he wants
he
to
was-
learn gnome.
Learning gnome. And of course, Bryn assumes he's learning it from a book or, Rosetta Stone or Duolingo or whatever. As it turns out, it's a strong possibility he was learning it from a gnome that he had trapped in his box. And it's a strong possibility.
Because the wording the GM used was subtle.
Yeah, and I didn't catch it, and I felt like a dumbass because these two, their eyes went like when they first, I was just like, oh, whatever, and it did not come up again for like a half an hour real time, and then all of a sudden at the end of the session, it was like, oh no.
Oh no.
And
look was...
Bryn finally stuck her head into Rocky's little home, and sure enough, there was a single shackle attached to his little cave, empty, and that was the end. So,
and then because again, you don't know. Like
right.
you said, there could be
the last thing Rocky tried to kill him first. So maybe this guy had it coming.
Do you remember what Rocky killed?
A gnome.
I thought it was a hobbit, wasn't it?
No, it was
a hobbit
gnome.
doesn't exist in
was
this
it a
world.
gnome? Oh, okay.
It was a gnome.
Oh
Okay.
no. Oh no.
Oh no. There's gonna be a nomicide. Oh God. Maybe they all deserve it. Anyway, so that was the end. That was the big cliffhanger.
Then when you got to the rooftop, you looked and you ended up, your perception check was good enough to see Rocky kind of moving between different things. And you saw him move to one rooftop and it appeared to be talking to something, a humanoid.
Yes.
And we dropped it right there.
Right.
So, and you're like, what the hell? It appears that he's had a unknown conversation. Not a meeting or something. Like he was confronted or something that he kind of landed and didn't initially attack, but they had some conversation words.
Right. Right.
And then, so here's the question. If anyone's in chat, I have an idea with the next scene. I'm gonna spoil this next scene for everyone, just kind of keep up. But what would Bryn's worst nightmare be that happens at that moment?
So the exact thing happening. I'm not going to give you ideas, you bastard. Wait. So
I got an idea what I'm going to do, but I'm just curious on what would be Bryn's worst nightmare of what happening right there.
So exact events. Rocky is talking to someone now, or
he's
talked and flew away.
No, he's talking to someone, and that's where we ended it.
Right.
My worst nightmare in that circumstance would be that person hurts him or tries to capture him.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the worst. That would be the worst right now.
So what ends up happening is it's far enough. They're far enough away that you can't necessarily. You could try to get to it, but one of the jumps is just going to be too far.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a conversation. Rocky gets a little agitated. You can tell Rocky gets a little agitated. And the guy backs up for a second.
Damn right he does.
And then there's a little bit more exchange and he leaves.
Good. Awesome. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. How close is Bryn to this at this point?
You're probably like 2 blocks away.
Oh, so I can't even call out to Rocky.
No.
No, I'm just like watching this whole thing. I imagine there's like a little like mini, like maybe waist high wall that I've ducked behind, and I'm just like.
And the lights, and you're seeing more shadows than actual like outlines than actual details and stuff like that. But I will give you, because you had an excellent, I think you rolled a nat 20. No, you had a really high over 20 on your perception on that roll.
Wow.
I will give you one detail.
Ah.
The humanoid appeared to be humanoid, either most likely human or half elven stature.
Okay.
And he was wearing a cloak. And
everybody wears cloaks, Jay. This doesn't help.
Yeah, no.
But it had
a bearded guy at the Renaissance Festival.
But what you noticed was down this one of the sides, there was a gleam, several gleams, as if it was the gleamy buttons. Like shiny buttons down the cloak.
Okay.
So I will give you that. And that's where we're going to leave that.
Okay. I have a suspicion. Son of a bitch. Okay. Nothing else need be said. I think that pretty much wraps it up neatly.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll return with that one because, what could possibly go there?
That's exciting.
Yeah. And as soon as you tell Glassdock's going to have the most off the wall conspiracy answer for you. So I'm just letting you know.
Nothing left.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I'm waiting for the. See, here's one thing that I'm still intrigued, and I actually have to ask everyone the question. Only 2 of you have stuck their head inside Rocky's thing. Yep. No one has gone in.
That is not true. Vera went in when he was helping him, when he was taking care of him because he was sick. Vera went in, and it got bigger behind him, and he was like, "That's curious."
You just went into the entrance. You didn't go all the way in.
Yeah.
I mean, not all the way to the back, but wherever Rocky was.
He was
lying there.
Like there was a pool. Like when you walk first in, there's a pool right there in this large chamber.
Yeah, that's as far as but he did get all the way in.
Well, yeah, okay.
He didn't just,
so you got.
But no,
Let me phrase that. You did get
I understand. I understand what Jay means. It's like nobody's actually like. It's like not just the entryway, like gone into the house.
He's in the foyer. That ain't in the house.
You're in the foyer.
Yeah.
And the foyer has a big pool that you're just kind of relaxing in. But there, you see all the side kind of channels and stuff like that. Yeah. And this is larger, but no one has actually gone in or asked to go in to search or anything, which I find kind of entertaining.
Well,
to be fair, I thought the entrance was like the size of a dog door, so I didn't think I could swiggle in there, but apparently you could. So good to know.
It's
a tight squeeze, but you can get in.
It opened right up for me. It's as large as I was. I walked right in. Yeah. It did not do that for you. It made you crawl.
Glassdock's thinking like a dwarf, and it's just like one big like cavern, room. It's not going to have a bunch of little side chutes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Arcanically speaking, does it change for each particular person who enters into the cavern space? Does the energies change and morph itself to the occupier of the space? How does this interdimensional chamber work? Please tell.
it's probably just an access door to an existing chamber somewhere else.
Right.
On another dimension. Similar to the instant fortresses, things where they're larger, a Doctor Who box, so to speak. Yeah. But
cool.
Yeah, so I've got, one day if that ever comes up, I've got a few things, and that Shaco might, come up. So
might.
Which brings up a question I have for everyone. We go, what has been your moment in the campaign that just made you go, wow, or fuck?
With regards to what? That's a really broad question.
Is there anything that stands out so far in the campaign that just makes you go like, okay, wow, or just shit, that you can think of? Maybe for you or for your character or for someone else's character?
I got one.
Okay.
I thought we were absolutely screwed when we were in the cave and the water was like trapping us, and like we were gaining levels of exhaustion the more we were like suffocating, and like our strongest dude was our only hope of like moving that rock pile. And what did you have, Jim? Like 3 levels of exhaustion or something?
Yeah, at that point.
I thought that was it. Like I was rolling like gangbusters, but I'm like a half elf lady and I like couldn't do it. Was bad. Like I thought that was like, this is going to be the shortest campaign ever. Cause this was like 3 sessions in, or maybe 2. And that's,
I think that was our 3rd session.
Yeah.
3rd or 4th
that
session.
was really a really well-balanced encounter that I thought we were not going to survive. So that was really cool. I'm glad we did. It was a real it was like the classic D&D moment. Like it was really close, but we ended up getting through by the skin of our teeth. Like that was cool. That was really cool.
Cool. I was very happy with that one. And again, shout out to my brain is not. By the way, I'm not 100%. I just got back from a con and I got a little bit of nasal. I'm good, no COVID, but I'm just a little tired. So
isn't it Cole Sparks?
Cole Sparks. Yeah, Cole Sparks.
Sparks. Yeah.
Cole Sparks created that, and it is on the Dungeon or DM's Guild, so you can purchase it there, or as a drive-through. One of those 2 locations, you can purchase that particular module. And as I'm looking at this going, what module is it, Jay? Where can I get that? It is Dentor's Hold Mine. And it is...
Put it in the chili chat.
Curse of the Dentor's Mine.
Crucian just asked a question in chat.
Crucian! Thank you for joining
us, Crucian.
Hello! Okay,
Hi,
question. How can we make your lives terrible? Yes, so for those who don't know, Crucian is in the...
By sending us a lot of money. That's how you can make our lives terrible.
Well, right now, you're not able to send too much, but they're still possible because the legends of Saltmarsh were in the village of Saltmarsh 100 years in the past. And a lot of the stuff they did has ramifications currently in the city, which has been developing. If I recall, that group of characters has now landed in the city. Now, what time or when, that is a complete mystery, and we will find that out. But what they've done previously, there was a lot of stuff that I was able to bring over of issues. So
I have gotten I gotta real quick just interject. I have gotten so impossibly lucky because like I'm just super busy, but when I log on and watch our sister campaign, I always log on like right when there was one time when Bryn's, and I know we're probably saving this crossover stuff for later, when Bryn's grandfather, I think, was mentioned pretty explicitly. And then like when the purple sheep stuff, and then there was like one other one that's like I've hit like all the crossovers and I've been able to tune in for like maybe 45 minutes total. And I've just gotten insanely lucky. And but you guys are doing a bang up job over there. It's a hoot and a half to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I know they've been they, or at least at the beginning, they were with my character's uncle, the one that's missing now that we're looking for. So
yes. There's a spoiler for Carrie. Yeah. So
awesome.
They're the Glassstoff's uncle was in the first one. Bryn's grandfather was in the first one. And for those that don't know, if you remember, because Muse and a few other actually the players wanted to go, okay, how can we screw them? Because they kind of put two and two together that was probably Bryn's grandfather on player knowledge, and they were going to meta and kill him. They talked about like we got to kill him because we want to screw.
There would be like that Back to the Future moment where Bryn's like, "Oh God."
And if you recall, in session 1, there was a Back to the Future moment where she started to fade. Remember that?
Yeah.
You were sitting in the carriage and you started to fade. That's because they wanted to kill your grandfather.
That's wonderful. And I did not get that. Wow.
Connect.
Wow. There you go. You wanted a wow moment. How about that?
Yeah. Good one.
They just want to kill the purple sheep. That's all.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this much. I have the purple sheep is probably, as a GM, one of the hilariously just added random ads that I just put into a campaign. And it was just one of those like, oh, I'm just throwing this in to bug someone. And it has turned into a centerpiece of chaos and hilarity, just funniness. And I will tell you right now, I have built a 3-episode campaign episodes around the sheep, like specifically dealing with the sheep later on sometime.
Nice.
So, and it might be the
you got
cult.
to pay off. You got to pay off.
Yeah, there's payoff. There's going to be payoff.
You got to pay off.
So the cult of the purple sheep is a true thing. So somebody may have to defeat them. Crucian. So Jim, any wow moments or any what the fucks or like shit what or spoiler moments?
My favorite wow moment has to be the first time that Jeff as a Vero went off on one of his wild explanations. It was the magic one, I think, when he was explaining the gloves when we were trying to sell the gloves or getting, the whole thing about the gems and this and that. And I was just sitting there. I was just like in total shock of what he was coming up with off of the top of his head. But as far as oh shit moments go, probably when we got Rocky, and we put 2 and 2 together that it was the egg or the crate. We didn't realize that there was an egg in it that we had delivered to the Lizard Folk Embassy. So yeah.
And he imprinted on us.
Yeah.
He imprinted on us
Next time you guys are pissed at him. Next time you guys are pissed at him, I just want you to think of him as a little baby duckling. And then maybe that'll get you from being pissed.
And I still remember the oh shit factor that you guys were like, Jay, we're first level. Why are you throwing a dragon at us?
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
I mean, do you see where my mind went to this point?
Yeah.
Where all the pieces were and they play together. I wouldn't TPK you right away. I've never had a TPK. I've almost tried thanks to a Star Wars game in the Bardic Playhouse. You throw a dragon at someone,
a crate dragon,
TPK, and they defriend, and it becomes their pet. Yep.
Oh yeah. Speaking of,
gotta love a crate dragon.
There's Emily talking about the crate dragon in chat.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Emily. And that's another sort. Yes, dragons and TPKs. Awesome. Jeff, how about you? Is there any like wow or favorite moment or something like that that kind of brought you in, or oh shit factor that you were like, okay?
Well, oh shit, Keshavir the crocodile. That was an oh shit after we had just gotten out of there and we're out of spells and end of the day, like we should not have taken on that damn thing in our condition. And sensibly, people suggested otherwise.
Yes.
So that was an oh shit moment, certainly from the character's point of view, but also as like, wow, are we gonna get through this? I don't know. And I think the moment that, at least to me, I realized what makes this game so good is the character interaction within the world that we are provided. And I think that is definitely a strength of this particular broadcast. Mm-hmm. And the first time I noticed it was Walking with a Purpose.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. The very first official clip from
I really wish there had been a secondary camera of the Roll20 screen, because I was walking, like moving my token little by little as I was like saying that, and Bryn was obviously very pissed. Carrie was like a little pissed, and I was just like moving my token with rage in my heart. God, that was funny. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what the Walking with the Purpose thing, so we got into a fight with some goblins in this cave, and
our first fight.
Yeah, and Aviro has the highest dexterity of the group, and so Jeff rolls really high, and so he's got initiative, and he's going to go first, and we were kind of separated, so Jeff's character and my character were down lower, and Carrie's character had gone up on a ledge and was fighting the goblins, and like she was trying to let us know what was going on. So Jeff, with his first action, basically is yelling up at Bryn, Carrie's character, "Is everything okay? What's going?" He basically wastes an action and does absolutely nothing. And then when we realize that the fight is actually going to happen, instead of getting involved in the fight, he casts Minor Conjuration. What was it that you cast?
Yeah,
Minor Conjuration, and made a wall to hide behind, and spent the fight hiding.
And that is what we call character commitment. My hat is off to Jeff. That was, I mean, that just set the tone for like a lot of the character interactions, all three of them.
Yeah. So that's when we found out he has no offensive spells as a spellcaster. And Carrie's character was so pissed off, she went and berated him. And it was just such a classic moment.
The thing I absolutely love, and I have this on the extended version, is Jeff. When Carrie, when you were talking in character with Bryn, I'm walking up to him with a purpose and Jeff does this to immolate what was going on. Like he was behind this thing.
He's still hiding behind the wall.
It was so beautiful in character. Yeah.
Tell me he would have done something else.
No.
Oh no, yeah. He would exactly what he have done.
So this is actually this character is the first wizard I've ever played. I have played him previously in a one shot, one session. Poppy.
Poppy, I'm sorry. She steals the show.
So I have always been interested in discovering this character again. I played him for one session. I'm like, I really like this concept of this magic user who doesn't attack, essentially as a pacifist. And I like the challenge idea of how can I look at spells that are, how can I interestingly use these spells in a role-playing manner and still achieve the goal of the group and tell the story while adding an interesting character into the mix.
Yeah. The one thing, and I've said this to each of these people, wonderful players, this is magic. Like the first session, we did session 0. We got characters developed together. We talked about some stuff, kind of talked about the campaign, and we did a quick introduction at the Adventures Guild. And we just did a quick role play. And the amount of just role playing and playing off of each other, it was very, very clear to me that the magic that they create together was just beautiful to watch. And I am so glad that I'm able to take this and put it here. So thank you. This group together is just awesome to playing.
Jim shoving a Vero away. Jim shoving a Vero away when talking to the lizard folk. We don't. Shut up.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, I mean, we've all talked privately in our Discord about it, but it's just the three of us. There's no, like, when we're playing our characters, nothing's taken personally. It's the characters, you know, it's not, you know, nobody's trying to hog the spotlight or anything else like that. We all just let it go because each character is going to have their moment based on the circumstances.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeff, to his credit, has gone off on some wonderful die trades about different things. And the meanwhile, Carrie and I are just in the background, you know, we're placing bets about when something's going to get screwed up. We're just talking about when we're going to get our next drink. I mean, we're doing what our characters would do while this elf is just blathering about stuff we really don't give a shit about. And then when he gets to a point that pisses one of us off, we just shut him up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Jeff, your improv timing on just coming up with just the theories of magic, and it's like, okay, when you start, I'm like, all right, I gotta up my game to be able to make that, you know, if we're going back and forth on something like that. Which
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just pulling things out of nowhere and throwing them together.
But it sounds so seamlessly.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh,
But I'm glad I have you all fooled.
So
that's what makes it great, Jeff, is that it's off. You can tell it's off the top of your head, but at the same time, it makes sense in context of what you're trying to describe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
You know, it's so outlandish that it's plausible, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, thank you.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. There is a question in chat that Crucian is asking: will the two groups ever meet?
Oh God.
Yeah, Jay, will the two groups ever meet?
Very possible.
Good question.
So they're now in the future. They're in the future. Future. At what time? Who knows? I can say this, that both groups' backstories are going to intertwine much more in the coming future. Will their presence, like in-person characters, ever meet and have interactions? Very, very possible. It really depends on how situations go, what role or what journeys the group kind of takes. But you know, I've done this before, is that I've had two different groups in the same game, and they come together to battle a big, huge event together. So I'm not, you know, I'm always up for, you know, groups getting together. Now, how that would work would be very difficult, but it's not unmanageable. And having it streamed, like I said, we just would put, 9 camera slots on there.
God.
So it's
for the Saltmarsh extravaganza, where it's like Star Trek Generations, where you get the two together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the blockbuster.
Yeah, it would be almost it would be there would be a lot of stuff that have to get set up and timing and schedules and what day do we do it on Tuesday?
So what you're saying
Wednesday?
the answer is maybe.
Oh yeah, so maybe. So
the answer to the question is, will they ever Christian, what was your question?
Will they ever meet?
Will they ever meet? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So
maybe. But
again, you don't know who each other are. So,
right.
You know,
right.
you might just pass each other, and who's to say that hasn't already happened?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the made-for-TV movie,
Yes,
right?
yes, it would be.
It's the anniversary where they get the gang back together, go back to Gilligan's Island for some goddamn reason.
Yeah. But I would be.
You people were stranded here. You want to go back to the place of your torment?
I would feel scared that one of them would want to like attack. But there'd be like a fight or something like that.
Oh, the other group. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, well, I just screwed something up. Yeah, I messed my okay. There we go.
I'm very excited for my Hat of Wizardry to arrive.
Oh my God.
Whenever my Hat of Wizardry arrives, I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
That whole thing. Oh my God.
For when that comes along.
Yeah, that is funny.
That is a magic item in Xanthar's, the Hat of Wizardry.
So, explain a little bit on what your. There may have been a slight GM interpretation differently, but I ended up taking it a different direction because I thought it was a little bit more like not humorous, but it was just that opening it up for more creativity and design. But you were just like more focused on having it look this way,
which is perfect for the situation for the character involved. Of course, he's going to go to a fancy shop and they're going to offer him all these boutique things, but the thing he wants is the thing in the back of the comic book, the Hat of Wizardry.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go either way. To me, it I don't know, it tickles me. Part of what's fun about this character is, I don't know, he makes me laugh. And sometimes doing things to intentionally antagonize the other players with him makes me laugh. But yeah, this Hat of Wizardry really cracks me up. The blue with the yellow stars from Fantasia.
Yes.
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, that's the hat in the back of the comic book. You know.
Yes.
Magic Boy's life.
So
you're gonna have to go on Hero Forge and make a mini.
Yeah.
That
with the hat.
With the hero wearing the hat on it. Yeah.
I did go into Hero Forge and make him.
Yeah, but you got to stick the hat on him though.
Yeah.
That's the.
Once I get the hat, I'll change it.
So here's a question that's come up. Rocky.
Oh God.
What is your true, like, the lovable Rocky? Rocky, the wormling dragon. Are you, from the moment, has your character's perception or opinion of Rocky changed since the first time you got dropped off to now, and with the last one being, what scares you in the future?
Well, as a dwarf and their history with dragons, Glassstock has always been apprehensive about the whole Rocky situation. Although he does respect the fact that Rocky did help us a couple of times in some fights, but it's the whole. I'm trying to think of the best example to use. You know, he's a wild card.
Yes.
You know, when we discovered that he could open up the box from the inside, I knew we were fucked. Because that meant we didn't have 100% control. As long as we had 100% control, I was more willing to go with it. At that moment, I was just like, oh, this is going to be bad. And for those of you who haven't seen the little Bryn's Night Out or whatever, the little, you know, Carrie's one shot where she had to deal with Rocky and the repercussions of babysitting a baby black dragon, you need to watch that. It's on the YouTube channel, or listen to it. But I mean, hopefully as he matures, yeah, I'm not worried about him attacking us as a group. I'm more worried about what otherworldly mayhem he may cause for us.
Mm.
I mean, we already had one situation where by dumb luck and me opening my mouth, I made Jay tear up 3 pages worth of future stuff because I remembered that Aviro can cast, mending, and we cleaned up the damage that had been done inside of our room. So
that was so beautiful. And I mean, as one of my proudest moments as a GM, the fact that it just like I had this. You were talking about it and how things were going and how things were damned, and I took specific time and descriptions of everything that was happening. I had a chart. Thank you for all the input from people. I've got 40 different things I would roll randomly of what could happen. And it was this beautiful chart. Things are happening. I'm like, yes. And you're all starting to leave. And I'm like going, and I have to think ahead going, okay, this has happened. This has happened. You've got this going. People are going to start figuring it out. Not to mention the owners are going to be pissed. Oh, when they get back, there's a whole RP and stuff like that. And then the one I cast meant. And I just went, yep, that just happened. And it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's totally a wow moment.
Yeah.
That was totally a wow moment.
So, Jeff, was there anything with Rocky that you're like changed or anything that you're looking forward to moving forward?
So, aside from the fact that a black dragon of any age is a genuinely terrifying creature in Aviro's eyes, that said, he feels relatively informed on the topic now, and has also made a personal relationship with said black dragon. So like it's the feeling has certainly grown fonder over time. The realization of reality of what Rocky is, and that 5 years from now he's going to be like, "Okay, bye," and he's gone, and there's nothing we're going to do to stop him.
Yeah.
Because black dragons are just like, okay, thanks, this was great, I'm out, peace, and fuck off. Like, that's gonna happen. It's a 99.999 repeating, like, is what he would spout.
Right.
Percent chance, because of course he always leaves the fact that there is still random chance randomly. It's always a 1, right? You can always roll a 1. So yeah, he's definitely gotten more fond of Avir. Avir has gotten more fond of Rocky over time, absolutely. Ooh. But he's still wary of the fact this is a black dragon. But I put him down.
Okay. How is Bryn, the mother of dragons, currently?
Bryn has her feelings on Rocky have not changed in the slightest. She loves him dearly, and the only time like she finds herself frantically making excuses more these days, I guess. But she loves him dearly, and that has not changed yet. So we'll see what happens.
And see, part of me as a GM, which here's the one question. As players, the fact that I gave you a baby black dragon to babysit, do you hate me or love me for it?
I love you as a player. I absolutely love you as a player, and I especially love you because of the character that I am playing having a black dragon. Like, it is fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, this is probably the most unique situation I've ever been involved with as a player. I can honestly say, playing D&D for 40 plus years, I have never had a situation where as characters we were babysitting what is effectively a high level monster, because we're level 2 characters, and even a dragon wormling at this level, if it was the 3 of us against him in a fight, odds are he would win. heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Especially our character. I mean, our one true caster doesn't cast offensive spells.
Although he did put him to sleep.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but
Whew.
yeah, that was another good oh shit moment by Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
But in an actual fight, you don't put level 2 and 3 characters against dragons.
Yeah.
You just don't. So to be in the situation where the dragon's on our side is a total flip.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a bratty teenager.
Oh, he's worse than a bratty teenager. This is a terrible twos at this point.
Oh, terrible threes too. Yeah, he's moving into the terrible threes now.
Yeah.
So the question, Carrie, I don't know if is, as a player, don't worry, no worries about the dogs.
Real life goes first.
Let them go.
Real life goes first.
Yep. As a player, are you happy or just pissed at me for throwing the dragon at you at such a level?
You mean the big dragon or Rocky?
Both.
The big dragon, I was pissed, and Rocky, I am overjoyed. So yeah.
So the fact that it is an integral part of this part of the campaign, I actually have to give kudos where a credit where credit is due. Here's a little spoiler. How Rocky came to be was from B. Davis Walters. He was running and talking about dragons. And he was talking about how in a campaign, and he said, there was one of the books that came out, we're talking about dragons, and there was a comment about, the worst thing you can do is give a party, babysit a monster. And then there was on dragons, and I went, I'm putting a campaign together. You just gave me an entire plot point that I'm going to test and do. So thank you very much. And that's how it all started. So just by a simple sentence of, what would be hilarious to see, or what interactions would happen if a party was babysitting a monster. So
I love it. I think it's great.
Yep.
Thanks for the nod.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this kind of goes, and the middle part, is just where it's going to go. Like I said, where it's going to go, the group is going to decide. We're going to kind of go with it and flow. There's no real set course. But a spoiler I have for you is there is a little bit of an end. Not an end, but there is an arc end, like Act 1 end, that potentially have already planned. We'll see if we get to it. I'm hoping that we'll get to it, but if we don't get to it, then we don't. But I'm hoping that depending on how things go, you'll eventually get to that Arc 1 finale. I will say this much: if you don't say "fuck you, Jay," I didn't do my job right.
Oh, great.
Why do you want us to hate you? What is this fixation you have?
It's not as much of a spoiler as it is. Are you okay?
Jay, do you need to look up one of the mental health people that we are so very fond of? Seriously, if you need the help, man.
What I'm looking for, what more or less is that emotional, that just kind of, it's not going to be terrible, but it's going to be one of those that, why did you do that to me? That's just awesome. That's the reaction I'm looking for.
Dude, we love everything you throw at us.
So, but I came up with this one, and it's not permanent by any means. So it's one of those things where it's changeable too. So, yeah, and it's not life-threatening by any means. So, potentially.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. But I'm really looking forward, if that ever comes by, for that act, when that Act 1 comes. I'm really looking forward for that series of happening. But throwing some more out. What other links or between the two campaigns from Midi-Terrain Domain, I can't talk, and Legends of Saltmarsh, and then the Saltmarsh Legends. What links were you hoping for, or did you find or want?
I wasn't necessarily looking for anything specifically. It was more of, because I pop in on Tuesday nights, I'm just kind of curious. But, what's going on with their group. And there's been a couple of times where I've heard something where I was like, oh shit. But for the most part, I'd rather play blind and discover these things naturally. So I'm going in with zero expectations because we're not supposed to know about these characters, and that's why I try not to watch too much on Tuesday nights. But, I've played with Crucian and I love watching Crucian play. So that's part of the reason why I pop in on Tuesday nights. And it's just a good group too, with Ashenworks and, it's a good group. So
yeah, there's
Daniel and,
Justin and Brandon, and Acerson. It's just the chaos in that group is the energy is very, very different, and the chaos and just the dynamic of them is a very, very different dynamic. It's a wonderful dynamic.
Yeah. Curious to know how so. In what way?
What was that? Sorry.
How are they different? Like, what's the difference in energy? I'm curious.
It's a very different. Like there's chaos, but I'm trying to just. They play off of each other of that chaos. There's the bubbly, I'm just this bubbly, wonderful, insightful, happy person, and it's like the chaos of like I'm here for money. I've got attitude, and stuff.
There's also 5 of them, so there's 5 distinct personalities that you're dealing with. So, and I would say a couple of the personalities are more extreme. So, the party gets steered in one direction, and there's always one person who's like, well, we probably shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And then it's, it happens, it's just.
Is it good for the story? Then great.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm been very sad about, I don't want to say disappointed because that's not, just been very, very sad about that I haven't been able, that we didn't have a longer episode run for season 1, and I put too much that I wanted to share in the first season than I had time allotted for, because we missed an entire episode of a party. I mean, the dynamics that they could have had and the interactions and the role playing that the group was at a fancy dancy party were just endless possibilities, but we just weren't able to get to it because of time factors. So, but coming back, so is there any other links or any other spoilers that you found that you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, or anything that's kind of jumping out like that you're able to see, or is there a link that you really, really want to see?
Yeah, like Jim, I haven't seen much of the other show. I'm kind of also trying to keep myself away, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have any.
I want to know what frickin' time they ended up in after the last episode. I want to know where they're at. And if it's our time, oh boy. That's what I want to know.
Yep, I'm going to say they are in the city of Saltmarsh. At what point?
I don't know what that means.
So you are in the city of Saltmarsh. Your group is in the city of Saltmarsh.
They could be 10 years before us. They could be 50 years after us. Which for all 3 of our characters is a drop in the bucket because we're none of us are human.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Which this is okay. So something else. So this is the first time I've been involved in a game where the entire party had dark vision. Like there is no character in this group who suffers, from the, oh, we got to go into a cave and,
Okay.
somebody's got to carry a torch. Yeah.
Nope.
So that's that the whole thing about, you enter a dark room. I have dark vision, that whole meme, we don't have to say anything because Jay already knows that all three of us have dark vision. It's,
Mhm.
Pretty great.
Audience too, if you got any questions, please throw them in chat because we'd love to answer some of those too. Going through some of my other questions, I had one on my tip of my tongue.
I have one.
Yes, please.
Can I ask?
Please.
For my co-stars and Jay, not for this campaign technically, but just general TTRPG stuff. When you all sit down to make a character, do you roll your stats first and then write your backstory around it? Or do you write your backstory and decide what you want your thing to be and then make your rolls fit that? That's what I want to know, because I've gone back and forth. I almost always, I used to do it one way and now I do it another way. And I'm not going to tell you until you tell me what your method is.
For me personally, I try to come up with a character concept first. An idea either from a picture or something that I want from that. And then I will point by based off of that. Or if I'm rolling dice, I will roll and put the stats accordingly that I think the higher stats in the abilities. So if I know he's more high dex, then that's the one that's going to go. I tend to favor Constitution more these lately. Then because the characters I've been building are a little bit more beefy, like barbarian types or someone that's supposed to be beefier. But some of the other characters in the past I would be more just focused on that. So that's my design. Jeff, how about you?
So I do it both ways, probably equally. Sometimes it is fun to sit with dice and a book and just roll up or randomly generate people and see who comes out. Like that's like the traveler method of character creation. Just who shows up is kind of fun sometimes. But when I'm going to be playing in something, I will probably start by looking at what character class I want to play first. And just look through and say, okay, what am I interested in? And gather up all my ideas. Okay, so let's say a ranger, a rogue, and a sorcerer. Okay, and then if I've got subclasses that I have a concept for, an idea of who would a sorcerer in a particular circle be, or a druid in a particular circle be, who would a eldritch knight be, who would be, and I kind of come up with one, and then I've made one for just about all of the different things, at least for practice, to see what it was like. And now I have at least a stock of some kind of Ken dolls that I can morph a little bit, but I have a basic idea of a character for almost anything. Now, some I have, they're real weak, and then some you get real strong, and that was how Aviro came out, was what is a wizard who doesn't want to be out wizarding.
That's awesome.
Doesn't want to be out wizarding.
He wants to be in wizarding. I'd love to be inside wizarding.
It's like when we're talking about inside kids and outside kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Aviro is an inside
He's
kid.
definitely an inside kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I like to, when I think about who a character is, I tend to think about what's going to be the fun thing for me to play, and that's how I have a good time while I'm interactively telling a story with some equally talented, wonderful players.
Aww.
So it's tons of fun. Tons and tons of fun.
Kids do a new thing with their hands for the heart. It's like this. I'm like, that's cool. That looks better than this. Neat. Anyway, sorry.
Cool.
Jim.
I mean, I've done it every possible way that it can be done. I mean, I've done.
Side note, real quick. I'm going to pause you right there.
Yeah.
Jeff goes both ways. He said Jim has done it every way that could possibly be done. So I just choose here.
Well, that's an age. I'm making an age joke at myself.
I know, God bless.
So I mean, because I've played in old 1E campaigns where it was you roll 3d6 straight down and that's your stats, and then based on those stats you have to try to come up with a character that'll fit those stats. And I played in it was like a 2-year campaign, and I was playing a rogue who his dex was 11, I think. His stats were horrible. His highest stat was actually intelligence. It was like 13 or 14. And
wow.
But I didn't want to play a wizard, so I was like, okay, well, what's the second highest stat? No, it's dex was a rogue, and our group must have come close to TPKs. I don't remember how many times, and he was the one character who survived. I mean, he had crappy hit points. His cons didn't give him any kind of a bonus. I mean, it was just, but that character survived for just sheer dumb luck.
Like Inspector Gadget.
He was
like
just
Inspector Gadget, dumb luck.
Yeah, he was just so much fun to play. But generally, I kind of do like what Jeff was talking about, and like I'll roll stats. Like I'll roll six sets of dice, and I'll have the numbers, and then I'll look at them, and then I'll think, okay, what kind of a character can I make from these stats that makes sense?
Okay.
And sometimes, it's, so like, Glassdock, he came about as a joke where he was actually going to be an NPC in a campaign I'm running.
Oh,
and
cool.
When Jay and I were talking about running a characters, I told him, I said, look, I have this character. I want to do something with him. And I explained to him what he was with Jay. And Jay's just kind of nodding his head. And he goes, okay, but, how are you going to make this work? And I said, oh, well, look, so for those of you who don't know, Glassdock is not a fighter. He's a sorcerer. But his background, so his family was all fighters, and
he's the black sheep.
He's the black sheep of the family, so he tries to act like a fighter. And so, dwarves get, their dwarven weapon training, so he can use a battle axe. Doesn't matter what class he is, he can use a battle axe. He can wear medium armor, so he's wearing scale mail and carrying a battle axe. And,
everybody just assumes.
And everybody just thinks that, he's got his 2 highest stats are his charisma because he's a sorcerer, and his strength. They're both 18s.
Well, and doesn't he even like brandish his battle axe? Like when we're fighting, doesn't he even have it out? And that's how he casts spells.
Yeah. And this was, again, one of the things that Jay and I talked about. His one range spell that he had when we first started was
Ray of Frost.
Frost. Yeah, Ray of Frost. Or I forget which one. Frostbolt or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he hides it by his somatic components he picks up his crossbow and he fires it through his crossbow. So it doesn't look like he's casting a spell. It looks like it's coming from his crossbow.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, it's super clever.
So the whole point was, black sheep of the family, it's the whole Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story. Dad wanted him to be a fighter, so we got to hide this power of yours. And so he doesn't use it. None of his spells are, he tries not to make them obvious.
Oh, Glassdock, you're a fish out of water just like I am.
Oh.
So
it's interesting. I kind of almost agree with both of you. Like I sort of do the hybrid thing that you're talking about, where I'm like, I kind of like, I roll my stats and then I kind of decide, okay, what class? And then you guys know this about me. Everybody who I play with knows this about me. I love writing a good backstory. Everybody gives me a hard time. Everybody gives me a hard time. And I know that some GMs will hate me and some will love me. I write a effing novel every time I send somebody a backstory. It is a lot. And every time I make a stupid decision that I have to explain, I will send the GM like 5 more pages, like a new chapter or story. It'd be like, oh, that's why Bryn did that dumb thing.
Yes.
And it's like,
when she was 6 and
there was a trauma in her like exactly. So, and then, but I do like, I will say like generally like I'll be like rogue, and then I will make my stats and I'll be like, okay, why is like specifically I like explaining the dump stat. That's kind of my favorite part of writing the thing.
Yeah.
Like if I do have a really dumpy dump stat, which I don't know if Bryn actually does. I forgot what is her, I think my lowest is like a 10. Anyway, if there is a really dumpy dump stat, I like to explain that through the backstory. And that's kind of a fun thing for me. I make up for a lack of creativity by just writing a lot.
But you know what? That's good. That's great for fertile ground for storytelling. Like I heartily approve.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. Absolutely. No, because
I appreciate it. Jake and Dwight and Gary were just giving me a hard time today via gift. So thanks. I'll just refer them to this video.
Yeah, well,
I see no reason to give someone else a hard time because they thought about their character. I heartily agree. If they don't want to think about their character that much, that's fine.
Well, and this is a little off topic too. This is a little off topic too, but like one thing that writing so much, it forces me to care about that character. Like obviously it's easy in these games to be like, I run into the fray and I don't care about death, but like I wrote 30 pages of backstory. I don't want that to go to waste. I put significant time into this. And so, but legit, it puts you in that headspace and it makes you give a damn, if only for the time commitment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I think that's one of the draws of role playing is caring about this character that you're inhabiting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And go ahead, Jim. Yep.
I was just gonna say, and I love characters who are not optimized for their class.
Yes.
For that very reason. So like you know, the character, my character here, Glassdock, his stats are set up to be exactly what he's supposed to be. But if you see the spells that I have, they're all, his combat spells he have are all melee based. He really should be this character should have been built as an Eldritch Knight.
Yeah.
Where instead of the 18 in charisma, it would have been in intelligence, because then you can take advantage of the fighter stuff. But it makes it more fun that, he's got a D6 for hit dice and, he's not as tanky as everybody thinks he is, but he acts like he is. And with the 18 charisma, he's got a higher persuasion. He's got a higher intimidation. He's got he can try to fool people that way. So,
which is what is one of the compelling things about the character in general. It's a really fun twist, and it's a really cool idea, and it's fun from a meta perspective of how do you build a melee sorcerer,
right?
Like that's kind of a fun character building experiment,
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I have every intention when I level is to take one level in fighter, but the advantage that I get for doing that is like I still can't wear heavy armor.
You just want to be a Jedi, Jim. Don't lie.
We're gonna hit you a sunblade.
Yeah, and then I'll take I'll take a level in cleric too. No reason. Shut up.
Yeah. Well, I can already heal because I'm a what is this, sun sorcerer, whatever. The one I get healing spells. So
Amazing.
That's.
But backstory is so. When Carrie gave me her character's backstory, I loved it. It took me a while to read it, but I loved it.
Hold on.
Being kind.
As you're telling this story, I'm going to look up how many pages it is. Please continue.
I think it's 11 or 15 pages, something like that.
I'm looking.
But so as I was like, okay, I read it, then I had to come back. I'm like, okay, but then it gave me so much, like ideas of like, okay, where can I branch into the story that I can bring their backstory in. And when we did the little one shots of like the shopping spree, library, and the evening, that came in, and you gave me exactly what I needed for that little story arc, and it was beautiful because it was like, and the shocking reveal of Bryn's past. Ooh, dun dun
Right.
dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I will have you know it was only 10 pages. I was restrained. So anyway, but yeah, well, and that's, Gary's argument is he wants to give as little as possible to allow the GM the ability to create. And I get that too, but if on the other end of it, if I give you a lot, you have a lot to choose from, and it could be anything, and it'll even surprise me because there was so much to pick. Like, I don't know what Jay's going to utilize and what's going to be a throwaway piece of information. So that's just always my take. And I like my characters. So.
And both ways are equally valid too.
Right. I had that, I had that talk with Gary on his podcast. If you're interested, it's the Cog Die podcast. Check it out. Friends promote friends.
Woo-hoo. Yes, definitely.
Yes.
And the interesting thing for me too, like if someone doesn't give me a lot of backstory, I don't want to, one of my things is I want to make sure if I add something to their backstory that they're okay with it. And
Sure.
there's always that, like, okay, depending on how the backstory was going, you gotta tweak it a little bit. But for the most part, there's certain things I'm like going, oh yeah, this just fits too well. So, which brings up a side.
Before you go on, though, I was going to say, as an addendum to that, it is also fun as a player to learn things about your character that you didn't know. And that's what a fun thing as a player is to be told a thing about your past that you didn't know.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Which is a fun discovery. So I would say a moderate mix of both gives you a lovely equal distribution of experience.
How long is your backstory, Jeff?
How long was it, Jay?
A page and a half.
Yeah, 2 paragraphs.
That's reasonable. Yeah. Jim?
Yeah. Mine was a paragraph and a half, I think.
Yeah, something
God
like that.
bless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very condensed, but all of the major information was in there.
So what you're saying is the more you write, the more nat ones you roll.
Yes.
And the less you write, the more nat 20s.
Well, I doubt that because you have the most for both. So
do I have the most for both?
Nope. So
I don't think I'm leading 20s.
Nope. So for those that don't know, I keep track of all nat 1s and nat 20s rolled in both campaigns. It is a competition because after our first session and the amount of nat 1s we rolled, you adopted the nat 1s as your name. So currently, as the list goes, Bryn has 12 nat 1s rolled so far in the campaign and has 9 nat 20s. She is leading with the nat 1s. Aviro has only rolled 2 nat 1s, but has rolled 9 nat 20s. It is currently tied for the nat 20s. Glasstalker has only rolled 4 nat 1s and 2 nat 20s. Yeah. Rocky has rolled 1 nat 20. I, as a GM, have rolled 9 nat 1s and 4 nat 20s.
So it's not that I'm not winning. It's just that I'm tied and I have to usurp Jeff.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
And for the other campaign, currently, their highest number of nat 1s is 4, and their highest number of nat 20s is 4 by 2 different people.
So basically, we're crushing them in both cases with fewer players.
But they haven't rolled as many dice.
We roll a lot.
So
yeah, no. They role play more. We actually do fighting. Who would you say fights more? Is it us or them?
You have had more. Well, you
get into a combat. You've had like roll initiative.
2 extra episodes, I think, and you've had more episodes than they have. But you've had more. I want to say you've had 4 combat encounters, and they've only had 3 or 2. So I want to know they've had but also that's in skill checks too. So there's skill checks and things of that nature that kind of come up, perception checks. So
perception checks, the bane of my existence. Every campaign Jay runs for me.
I make perception like a high stat every time I play now, because the very first character I ever made, I gave her like a whatever perception, because like I didn't know how the game was played. I didn't know how integral. And then I like never got to roll anything. I was just sitting there watching. And so now it's like my character's big and dumb, but notices everything. Anyway, sorry, kind of hijacked you there, Jay.
Oh, no worries. So one of the things I was going to tell you is that with those one shots that we did. So here's a spoiler for everyone. We are going to be looking at, since we're going to be still on a little bit of a hiatus, we're going to be doing some more backstory one shots. So a little, character development, a little backstory similar to some other stories and other wonderful people campaigns that have done, taking a little bit from theirs and molding it to here. We're going to be diving into those 11 pages of backstory that Bryn has. Vero.
That's the new miniseries on Netflix.
Yeah.
So.
We might be exploring why Vero has such an affiliation with school, because we're going to be diving in a little backstory of Vero and his love of libraries and some stuff there. I've come up with something really fun for that one. Oh yeah. I have that's
gonna be like Harry Potter.
Does he like Harry Potter? He is Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Except for
he's Ron.
He lives in Harry Potter's world.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He lives in Harry Potter's world.
And Jim.
No. So what's the what a wizard kid likes? They read Muggle books about the boxcar children.
Lots of books.
Isn't that how wonderful it would be to live in a boxcar? free from
responsibility.
Nice.
That's a deep cut.
But then Jim, for Glassdoff, we have to decide on what we want to explore there. So I'm still kind of figuring out that one, because I don't know where we want to go, like what mission you would have been on or something like that. That
I want to see Glassdot get bullied. I mean, I don't want to, but I want. I want to see. I want to see what I want to see that. You know what I mean? I want to see what made him, gave him character.
Ooh. Yeah, Jim and I are gonna have to talk a little bit more to figure out.
That came out wrong.
You want to see his defining moment. You want to see his.
I want to see him at his lowest.
You want to see him at the Dwarven games when the little girl comes up and kisses him and his axe catches on fire.
Yeah.
Green flame.
Yes. And when he's not very strong at all, and they do the caber toss, and he just goes thunk, and his hands sink into the ground. Oh, it's the Highland games in my mind.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you guys see the one comment in chat about our characters? Kuvanet put in. He says, one thing that I genuinely appreciate about these characters and players is that y'all don't have a false sense of courage. When your characters are afraid, they are afraid and will nope themselves right out of a situation, which makes them far more relatable.
Thank you,
Kurt. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and that is, if I can say so without buttering you guys up too much, I mean, these are talented role players. Like for me, when I was first starting out, it was hard to separate like what I am doing sitting at this table versus what my character would do. But you guys do a really, really good job of that. I think I've gotten better over the years, but you guys do a really good job of that.
Well, thanks.
Have since the beginning.
No, I've always, I'm more of a DM. I don't get to play as often as I used to. And so the role play portion of it is, I don't say kind of lost on me, but it's not my strong point by any stretch of the imagination. But even, I don't know if she's still in here, Emily from our Star Wars game, she made a nice post about me on Twitter the other day where she says, one of the things about me is I can always keep the seriousness, whatever the characters are going through, I'm the guy who makes it reminds everybody how serious the situation could be.
You're the levity.
Yeah, it's like I play as the straight man.
You're the levity.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the show wouldn't be called Seinfeld without Seinfeld.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's you. You're the anchor.
Yeah. You're the natural one.
You're the natural one.
Yes. Great.
Listen, man. Listen, that is a compliment of the highest degree.
Yeah.
Jim, I greatly enjoy your role playing. I think your dedication to Glassdock and reacting the way that he would react is 100% on, and I think you should certainly give yourself credit for.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I love
playing him well with the curveballs he's been thrown from.
Yeah, I love this character, but part of the reason I love this character is because the situation that he's stuck in with the two of you. You know,
when you pull out the brewer's kit, you know, it's like, well, that's the fulcrum to our.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So here's a question: is there any NPCs in the campaign that has stood out as your favorite?
Not counting Rocky.
Rocky doesn't count.
Rocky doesn't count. He's
an honorary PC.
He's in the overlay. He's part of the group.
Yeah.
I don't. So I stood out because like Boba Fett, he was cool and mysterious. The dragonborn paladin dude that brought Rocky to us.
Ooh, yeah. He was
Like,
cool. What was his
don't know
name?
much about him, but he was cool and mysterious, but cool, looking like a dragon kind of dude.
I like what's his name? Radek, the guy who runs the trading outpost.
Okay.
Only because he's a dwarf, and so I get to talk to him. You know, like I have that commonality with him between my character and stuff, and you know, I'll be honest, I try using that to my I've tried using that to my advantage for every single chance that I can when it comes to trying to barter something down and stuff. So
I have no doubt that he's noticed it too. So
yeah.
My favorite, not because I liked him, but because I liked it was just a dynamic character that made me have a visceral reaction. Was the delegate that came and talked to us from Ambermaid, like that snooty little son of a bitch. Like I just felt like I hated him. As soon as Jay like came in and was like, hello, I was like, oh fuck this guy immediately. Like
he was your Joffrey or your Littlefinger.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Well, and then just like it played so well. Jay you did a really nice job of like when he was like first just giving us a quest, like maybe this guy's just snooty and whatever, but it played really well that he wanted us to find evidence of the lizard folk attacking this vineyard, whether it existed or not. That slowly came out through the dialogue, and that was just really cool to me. That was very like intriguey, and like I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really cool.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that's the way it went, because that was the purpose of the process. So
yeah, definitely not because I liked him, but because it was like, ooh, yeah, okay, that's why we play this game.
So there's a few more. I'm trying to think if there was for me, it's trying to come up with different voices on different things. Sarah on the Wicker Goat waitress. So I'm I had fun with that one, but not in this campaign, but in the other campaign, there is a waiter that I did, which is Mr. Joy. I mean, it's Chad. He basically, I created. He's just this lovable, happy. You're wonderful, hardworking waiter, and he's at the Wicked Goat, and he's just like that the other campaign is doing, and they loved him and hated him at the same time because he was just this hardworking, bubbly, happy, and I just love playing that character and just watching them just go, yeah. And he has got the best, beautiful fiance. You know, his life is wonderful.
His life is great.
Yeah.
No trauma. That's why he's not out adventuring.
Exactly. He's making his money. He's going to get married until a wizard stepped in and did a little, you know, some goofy with his, and she broke his heart, but they got back together again. So it's all good.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So we've had a few things like I offered to chat what favorite NPC, and they're like Rocky. And I have to say, playing that is also one of the best the RP sessions that we have of me playing Rocky against Bryn or with Bryn and Rocky with Avero. Those two encounters RP sessions have been fun.
Mm-hmm. I just love him so much. I hope he doesn't turn evil and I have to old yeller him. That would be sad. That would ruin my day.
You have the power to influence him. I will say this much. You have so much influence on him, and depending on where that influence or what other influences come to him, he's going to go one or the other direction. Are
you saying that through the power of friendship, we can make a difference?
What?
That's why I love this game.
Power of love.
That's the power of love. Huey Lewis in the news.
Yep. No, and that's one of those things where in this act, like I said, there's going to be more acts potentially with or without Rocky. Again, it all kind of depends on how things go and where the things go. But this particular act with Rocky, your group influence on him, I will say this much. The reason why you are Saltmarsh Legends, potentially one of the reasons, is how you influence this dragon.
Oh, okay.
So, how the influence of this dragon goes, which direction it goes, is going to set the stage for a lot of the other acts that come by.
Oh, God. You guys remember that game Fable for the Xbox?
Yeah.
PC? It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's not, and the way I look at it is it's not going to be the main story arc for all the acts. It's going to be one of those things where it might be an overarching arc, and there's going to be a lot more other stuff within the other arcs that kind of come. That's going to be kind of a come and go type situation. I don't know yet. Some of the stuff we're going to play. Yes, Carrie.
We just got another message from Cuvanet. Says, so the thing that makes Rocky so awesome, I imagine that's the thing that makes Rocky so awesome, is the fact that the characters felt bad when they weren't paying him enough. Well, some of us did. Even though he said he didn't need anything more, y'all like, nah, we're going to get you more. It is very sweet.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Some of us appreciate that.
Like when you get more food or...
Yeah, we care. We being me and maybe Avero care about him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I care about him. I just don't 100% trust him yet.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference.
I'm just a baby.
Oh, yeah, well, wait until you tell Glassstock what you just saw. Then we'll,
Bryn may or may not. Well, that's pretty messed up, but I don't want to talk about it.
Bryn pretty much has a motor mouth when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I'm pretty sure it's going to come out.
When Bryn scrambles away from the door, there will be an explanation to be had.
Yep.
She is rather smitten with this dragon.
Oh yeah,
I love this dragon. I have actually. I mean, I've got character art for the dragon, so it was a very pivotal process. I love playing him. That combination of cat, adolescent, intelligent dictator, just kind of that combination.
So hey Jeff, we got one geared towards you.
Oh,
yep.
So Bill Roper
Hi, Bill Roper.
Bill.
Billiam.
Says Jeff plays perhaps the most convincing pacifist I've ever seen in a game. Can you talk a bit about having a wizard that shuns combat in the group because the role play is lit?
Sure.
I'll start. I hate it. No, Carrie loves it. I think it's awesome and it's commitment, and Jeff should have all the inspiration points. Bryn hates it, which is awesome for like character friction.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's kind of funny. You're, Jeff, remind me, what race is a Vero?
High elf.
You're a high elf. Bryn is a half elf. So like that kind of plays into like her perception of high elves is kind of like, you know, and I think it's perfect that he's kind of too, in her opinion, too afraid to get his hands dirty, whether it's fear or strategy, as he claims, is, you know, depends on the situation, but it creates some good friction that's usually good for a laugh, and maybe will result in some actual character conflict one of these days.
Now, we did have a Vero's first creature kill.
Yes,
in one of the last episodes.
Yes.
And the fact that he was so sorry.
Yes. He's so sad.
So the he is very sad. He is essentially a pacifist. He when I came up with the idea of playing a wizard that doesn't throw fireballs, who is he? He just wants to be in his tower studying magic and especially the really deep, high, heady magic theory stuff. If Stephen Hawking wrote about magic, that's the level. He wants to read his papers, not just his mass market books. Like he wants to read the scientific journals, or in this case, the arcanic journals of modern theoretical arcanical thinking. And as a 17-year-old who just wants to get lost in his books, that's all he wants to do. So when I think about what spells can I take for someone who only wants to be in a contained specific kind of indoor area, or just doesn't want to be outside, what's he going to do? Well, he's going to overpack, and he's going to do everything that he can to protect himself first. And then what other things might be interesting that if he's into how does magic work, he'll have a lot of random things that can make magic do stuff. And for me as a player, part of the fun is to think of spells and how can I use the spells in the book in interesting ways. And for me, that's part of the creative process that I really enjoy about this game is how do I do that? How do I play that character who his way of problem solving is not throw a fireball at it. It's using magic in other ways that might be used in an interesting way to affect the outcome, while at the same time being opposed to violence, pretty much. As long as it's not against him. If you're doing it, please don't. But if you have to, fine. So yeah, can you read the question again? I'm afraid I missed.
No, it's just
Did I cover it all?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, talk a bit about having a wizard that shuns combat in the group because of he just loves the role play.
Yeah. So it was very much role play based rather than combat based, but it was also having been role playing for 20 years as an interesting curveball to throw at myself. How do you play a character that doesn't act offensively that way, and finding the other spells there within. And he, to be fair, he has been one of the stronger characters I'm very, very proud of this character. I really like him. He really makes me laugh, and I love throwing him in situations in which he's miserable. I think Jim Butcher said the same thing about Harry Dresden. he loves to torture Harry Dresden.
It's awesome.
Nice.
Well, see, that's the thing. Jeff's character and my character are on their exact opposite spectrums when it comes to spellcasting. You know, he wants to be a spellcaster, but from a philosophical standpoint, my character doesn't want to be a spellcaster, but he is.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
it's and now, mind you, I had no concept of Jeff's character, and he had none of mine when we created these characters. It wasn't like we planned this. That's just how they ended up. And it's even better because one's an elf and one's a dwarf.
Yes.
So there's that natural
and a tall elf.
Yeah. There's the natural racial, animosities, between the two races. And then, yes, they're both spellcasters, but one's a book learned wizard versus a guy who has it naturally, but really doesn't want to use it unless he absolutely has to. So, Bill, you hit the nail on the head when you say, the role play is lit. I mean, my favorite moments are when Jeff throws a curveball at all of us because he's using some spell in a way that nobody would think of using it. That one, like, it was one of our first combats when he was a mage hand to throw the backpack over a goblin's head.
Oh yeah. My God.
Things like that. It's
and stuff like that. It's technically not in the rules, but it's like, it's so perfect that, as a GM, I'm like, I'm allowing it. We're going to go with that story.
Cool. Like when I play, I love the rule of cool. Like what would be fun if you're reading this comic book or you're watching this show, the story's unfolding. What's fun for the story and how can you make it interesting?
And that kind of situation is stuff you would see in the TV shows and the movies where somebody throws something over somebody, an enemy's head to make it so that they can't see. It's just Aviro does it using Mage Hand instead of physically throwing it over him.
Right.
So,
and that makes it okay.
Yeah. from behind his wall that he always makes in the first round of combat.
Yes. But now with the window.
He's got a window now, so he can see.
Yeah. Jeez.
The next time he gets shot through that window with the crossbow bolt, we'll see what happens next. So another question for you. As players, where do you want to see your character go? What is there a story arc or something that you would like your character or something happen to your character or explore with your character in the coming arcs?
Glassstock wants to find out why he can cast spells.
Oh, okay.
Because again, it's a natural ability. He just knows how to do it. And so he's never been given an explanation why.
Only he knew somebody who how magic worked on a fundamental theorem.
But see, that's the difference is like he knows he could talk to Aviro about it, but Aviro is going to talk to him about it from a theoretical standpoint. And it's like the kid in the math class who can do the work, who can answer the question without doing the work.
I relate to that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
yes.
So I guess what I would love to see in the comic book in my mind of how this goes is that he does go talk to Aviro about it. Aviro starts off on gobbledygook. Bryn comes over and translates or somehow convinces Aviro how to convey the information in a way in which
Glassstock would understand.
Teach him what is the pertinent information, not how does it work yet.
The Reader's Digest version.
If she spins it as a way to study magic just happening, how does this work? He loves a good experiment. He loves researching and solving a puzzle.
Right.
A poser, as we call it. Like that's how in my brain. That's how I.
Yeah.
That's the fanfic.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. Like, and maybe this is something you can use, Jay. Is like in the books. So you've got a wizard and a sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
They can both cast, like in our case, the only spell right now that both Aviro and Glassdock both know is Prestidigitation.
Yep.
And the only reason why I know Prestidigitation is I took it after I leveled and I was given another cantrip. And I thought, well, the only one that I would theoretically be able to know, because it's the one that Aviro casts the most.
Cool.
Okay. And so all I'm doing is mirroring what I've seen him do, and I can just do it. You know,
That's cool.
but in the books, they don't give you a really great explanation. Like the way a wizard and a sorcerer both cast the same spell is the exact same way. You know, it's the verbal, somatic, material components, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, if you think about it, there must be a difference in the way that they do it, because one is doing it through a learned process as opposed to somebody who can do it naturally. So that's, you know, there you go, Jay. There's something for you to.
So what would never mind. What would,
you know, it's like, okay, so
how would it look?
I'm going to age myself, and, you know, Jay's going to relate, and Mr. Roper's going to relate if he's still in chat. You know, back in the old 1E rules, you know, the only two caster types were wizards and illusionists. And when you were first level, there were no cantrips. You had one spell.
Yep.
That was it.
What?
And once you cast that one spell, you were done for the day until you could study your books. And that's the only real difference that the newer rules talks about, is that if a wizard has to study his spell book to learn his spells. Whereas a sorcerer, you know, every time that they level, they can just change out
Wow.
the spells that they know. And
That must have sucked.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But back in those days, you know, as the newer rules came out, and I'm sure Jay and maybe Bill, you know, saw things like this. Some of us used to use spell points, which is effectively kind of like how it is now, where you have multiple spell levels that you can cast throughout a day. So a first level spell costs 1 spell point. Second level spell might cost 2, 3, 4, 5 going up. And so depending on your intelligence and what your level was, you got a number of spell points. So a first level wizard with an 18 intelligence actually could cast more spells than a first level wizard with a 14 intelligence. Unlike the current rules where you both can cast the same number of spells. There's no difference, just what the DC is or how much damage the spell can potentially do. And that's really the thing of, like, now that spell points is essentially what a sorcerer has become. You know, he's a mana battery per se. You know, he just has the ability to throw the spells, whereas a wizard has to imprint the spell on his brain to actually cast it.
That's a good way to look at it. I've never thought about it that way. Interesting.
Yeah, see about Bill in chat. Yeah, after you threw that one spell, you were hiding or trying to smack somebody with a staff, knowing you had toilet paper as armor and 4 hit points. Fun times. Yeah, because wizards back then, they got a D4 for their hit points.
Oh God!
Oh yeah!
Wow. Tell me more about the before
following
times.
a long line of cowardly wizards.
There you go. It's in his genes.
Yeah.
I guess Bryn wants. It's hard to explain. She wants to be able to share with Aviro and Glassdock who she was and being a harper and all that stuff, but she can't, because if she does, then she will never even possibly get to be a harper again. So it's she wants to be able to share that part of herself with them, but can't. And so that's something that's just eaten her up. And I love that Aviro tried, bless his heart, to get at that last session or the session before. And Bryn was dodgy, expectedly. And so, but yeah, I feel like it'll come out whether she wants to or whether she wants it to or not here, coming up here. So.
I might have an idea or two, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like I have an idea of what your idea is, you sneaky son of a gun. But we'll see. I just have a hunch.
Well, I'm encouraged to see if your hunch comes true or not.
Yes.
What's a Vero? What are you, Jeff? What are you hoping for a Vero?
Specify the parameters of cognition. You are wanting to know what he wants within the next arc, or like his long-term goal.
Either. Like I said, where do you see that you want a Vero to reach or?
So me, Jeff, wants a Vero to be stuck out here away from school as long as it takes, because that's how we get an adventure out of it. So he's out here as long as we need him to be, because that's where he is the most fun, is actually as the fish out of water. So keeping him out here is great. Don't send him back to school yet. It's for his own good.
Yeah.
Gonna make a man out of him yet.
Exactly, right? Like, they're not gonna let him back for probably a while. But he's gonna be in constant contact with that school to let them know that he wants to make sure that his position is still in good standing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'll bet he writes a weekly letter. I bet Aviro sends a weekly letter back to the school to check in and let them know
Aww.
that, is my position still open? I just want to make sure that I'm still a student in good standing for such time as I'm free.
Funny.
That's amazing.
He sends a letter every week, but sometimes they get there out of order, so they're like getting, this is dated such and such, and then they get one 2 days later that's dated the week before. And
So what does he want long term? I mean, he wants to go back to school, which is going to be the driving force for every decision he has.
Naturally.
Which I love, because it puts him in the comedic position of not wanting to be where he's at. If he gets too whiny, tell him to shut up.
Oh, we will.
So with that being said, suddenly an adventure idea came up, and I would love to see Avero bringing the gang back to school to investigate something, and he's the one leading everyone in his element.
Oh my God, that would be so good.
Oh my God.
Is that the reunion show?
Not really, but something like one of the acts.
Because it's very far. It's over in Waterdeep.
But he's the protagonist, and we're just the sidekicks.
Yes.
Oh.
You're now in his element.
Oh my God. And Bryn is going to be running in the halls and passing notes and all kinds of shit on purpose.
It's a Strixhaven adventure.
That's awesome.
At Wizard School. So what does he want? That's what he wants. In the meantime, he certainly is going to be devouring that library at the Temple of Mystra.
Mm-hmm.
He is a worshiper of Mystra, so he will do his religion stuff over there too. He'll pray, or thereabouts. And what else is he going to do? He is going to, on the sly, so Glassdog doesn't know, research the history of dwarven magic. What do we know about dwarven magic?
Okay.
And see what he can figure out there. But he's also wants to look into, does anyone know why sorcerers can do what sorcerers do, and why wizards do what wizards do, and what is the difference? And has anyone studied that? And if not, Aviro has a thesis idea for grad school. And he's going to study Glassstock and figure out why a sorcerer can do what he does.
Perfect.
And that's going to be his paper. So that's his kind of middle length goal.
Like it.
Wow.
Yes.
He just hasn't decided if he's going to tell Glassstock yet.
Oh, 100%. He can't tell Glassstock. He doesn't have the balls.
But as a researcher, he takes his research seriously. So you definitely get your subject to get the best data. It's best when they're
placebo.
Eventually.
So, but what he might do is observe for a while and get him to do stuff while he just observes, and then eventually he'll get his cooperation to sit down and
Nice.
testing stuff.
Nice.
That's my idea.
Yeah, that's going to take a while because you know how, I don't want to say opposed, but
Yeah.
how unmagical Glassstock wants to be. Like he just wants to be a regular dwarf.
And a Vero cannot
Not.
fathom that concept.
That is adorable. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
How cool.
That. Yeah. Oh man. That's.
So many ideas.
Oh, yeah,
Jay is taking note.
Oh, I am. There's definitely some notes, and I'm like going. So, I originally had a shorter timeline of like of Act 1 and stuff like that, but as we progressing, it's just getting pushed, and I'm just like I'm just enjoying what we can do and just telling the story, and then adding more things, and I'm like, okay, we just push further back, and we're just gonna do some more and do some other stuff, and yeah, I've got some ideas of like where things and how and things. Yeah, we'll see. We're coming up on time soon. We're gonna be breaking about 10 o'clock. Any other questions in chat? Get them in quickly so we can try to get to them. Any other questions from the players about?
Did we level? My question is, did we level?
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
No. Honestly, I can honestly say this is something that I'm totally, now that I know everything, well, not everything that I know about Aviro as a character up to this point, as a player and a DM, what spell is Aviro going to take at level 5 when he gets his first 3rd level spell? Because you know he's not going to take Fireball. He's not going to take Lightning Bolt, which are the quote unquote de facto standards.
You never know.
For a
He's
wizard.
been hanging around with us.
No, but see, that's just it.
Oh no, it's I have known for so long.
I just and the thing is I want it to come as a surprise in the middle of something. I just want it to come out.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't want to know. I want to find out in the middle of, combat or whatever. It's just like we found out you didn't cast and have any offensive spells. This is the big level for a low level character. Level 5, is huge for a spellcaster. And you are going to break every norm. And I am all for it.
Humanat thinks it's going to be charm person or something. Hero's already charming enough.
I'm personally I'm trying to avoid looking at what 3rd level spells there are because I don't want to know what Aviro can potentially.
Do you want to have a poll? Do you want to have a poll for the
this color spray?
For the viewers, guess what Aviro's first spell is, and then. When it comes out in play, that's the answer. That
would be hilarious. So I'd have 2 polls. One, what would be his first 3rd level spell that he casts? And then, what is Aviro's first offensive spell? Will he ever have? Will he ever have an offensive spell?
Well, I mean, technically, you could say sleep is an offensive spell.
I'm talking like a damage dice rolling.
Oh,
spell.
See, I don't think I think Jeff's going to totally avoid anything that actually is damage dealing.
As a good GM, what would make Aviro turn to an offensive spell?
Ooh,
me. I'm a terrible influence.
I mean, but. As a story arc, as a GM looking at a story arc, you have this pacifist. But to what level does a pacifist mage? What has to happen in the campaign
for
him to even
would
consider an offensive spell? And is that something we want to explore or not?
What if he felt like he couldn't protect his friends?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, is that something? I mean, that's as a GM, my things are kind of going like this.
Great, Carrie. Now one of us has to die so that Aviro can cast a damage spell.
Yeah. Oops.
Is it worth it? Is it
Yes,
worth it?
it is.
Who says it has to be you?
Oh, yeah, it could be Rocky.
Fuck off. No, I will take the hit. I will take the hit. I will enclose him. Oh, Jay. Oh, that could be good, though.
Oh no, I love this in chat. Aviro must take a life to save his friends. The pacifist dilemma. Ooh.
Oh my God.
And as a GM, that is like a storyline, but I'm not forcing it by any means, and it's up to Jeff and conversations that if where we want to go with that. But that is a storyline, and that's to me is good writing.
Good character stuff.
Good character stuff. Good character development. But then also what happens afterwards. What is the RP? How does that RP go afterwards when you're talking to the players or the characters, like, and then the after effect ramifications and the healing afterwards too. All that kind of encumbersome of like that RP is just story, and that's just good storytelling. So, but
True.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that could be.
That is the ultimate purpose of what we're doing here, right?
Exactly.
Telling an interesting story together.
Yes, that is a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes you cringe because you care about these characters.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
So,
wow.
The last thing I'm gonna throw out there, and actually, I'm gonna save. I don't know if this is a fair question to ask, so I'm gonna hold off on this question. So I'm gonna talk. I don't want to ask this question on air. It's something I think we're gonna ask later. So let me go to another one. Any last comments, shares, or anything like that you have? The one thing I didn't ask: how do you think the campaign is going so far? Is there anything that can improve?
It's awesome. It's wonderfully awesome.
Yeah,
no notes from me. Like, yeah, it's also been awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome, and it's also relatively young. Like, there's certainly nothing that's like a glaring thing that feels that it needs to be changed in any way. Maybe things will develop.
Mm-hmm.
It's been super fun.
It's been great.
Oh yeah. I think so too. It's and I've said this multiple times. I feel very, very blessed that I was able I am a person that believes that things come together for reasons, and things come together for good reasons. Karma is a very important thing, but it's also that when you think positively or you bring good elements together, you can create something marvelous. And I keep using the word magic. And when this all developed and when this all started, I was wanting to have a campaign, and Jake from MTD gave me a great opportunity to go, you know what? Why don't you run a game? And I had this in development, and I had this idea of two worlds, like I said, and trying to figure out both of them and going out and developing them. And when I was looking at for players, I put the casting call, I put it out, and it was very distinguished that there were two different groups. There was a Tuesday and there was a Wednesday. People could play on Tuesday, but not on Wednesday. People could play on Wednesday, but not on Tuesday. And as I was putting the groups together and trying to figure it out, it came to like, wait a second. I'm going to go Tuesdays. So I'm doing Tuesdays. So these three individuals weren't going to play, but I looked at it and went, no, I want to play with them. There is something here that is, I want to play with these players. I want to tell a story. And I think there's something really cool going to be here. And then we decided to do it. And after that first session, it's just been a joy. So thank you so much. And like I said, I'm looking forward to this continuing down the line. But yeah, this is it's things just work together when they do. So been very, very happy.
For those of you watching at home, we are all so very excited on Wednesday mornings. Like we're sending messages through the Discord.
Sending messages back and forth. Yeah.
Game day, oh boy, am I, it's game day.
Yes.
Oh, so many memes. So many memes.
So we very much enjoy doing this.
So, well, we're going to close out to 10 o'clock.
We enjoy having you watch.
But before we do, is there anything plugging? Because, Carrie, I believe you're working on something wonderful. Would you like to plug?
Oh, yes.
On some Wednesday nights, we probably actually won't be starting until May. But we play now back on Mini Terrain Domain. We play Call of Cthulhu, Mythos Investigators, and I will be running my first game ever over on that channel that day. So I'm pretty excited and nervous and all the things. But I'm kind of just putting the finishing touches now. We're having our little private session 0 a week from tomorrow, actually. So fingers crossed. I think it'll be fun. And then Monday nights, you can find me on Mini Terrain Domain playing Candlekeep Mysteries. So yeah.
Awesome. Jeff, anything you would like to plug or anything that's up or in your world?
Nope.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Go Emporium for the Wayward Gamer. Woo!
Yay!
Jim.
Here on the Wednesday nights and then Sundays on Mini Terrain Domain, you can find me playing with Jay and the Shadowport Adventures. Bill, who's in chat, is also
thank you, Bill.
in there.
Bill just gave us a very nice comment.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Bill.
At some point, I'm supposed to be back on the Blue Water Dragoons channel on Thursday nights playing in another campaign. It's an Oops All Rogues campaign.
You can't go wrong there.
Except I'm playing a ranger. So we had our we had our session zeros and I was after I had my session 0, the DM she goes, I didn't think a ranger was going to work in this campaign, but you make it work. So
that's a testament to you.
Yeah, seriously.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jim. So I am Jay, also known as NoFet3 on the socials. I just got back from GaryCon, which was my first GaryCon, and I had a great and awesome time. Met a whole bunch of new people. Got to meet some streamers that I game with in person. So people I stream with, I've never. That's an experience of awesomeness. So it was a great time. Attended a wedding. So I clean up nice, I guess. Thank you for the wonderful chat comments. I appreciate that. Had a good time. This Sunday, 3 p.m. on Mini Terrain Domain, Shadowport Adventures will be back from our hiatus, so we'll be there. Then not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I believe it is the 9th of April, although my dates are off, I have no doubt. Because, it is the 9th of April. Wow, I can remember. I will be returning at 4 p.m. for the Champions of Eclipsia on Gilding Light channel. So follow us there. I get to play a barbarian. And we had some very interesting things that happened last week or 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, it's going to be... We're going to after effect of that one. My barbarian went a little wild. So it was fun.
As they tend to do.
Yeah. And then, so we've got 2 more weeks left of Shadowport Adventures, Mini Tournament, and then we'll be looking at some stuff over the summer, some one-shots, some things of that nature. So before season 3 in September or October. So also, in chat, you'll be noticing that there's a link to our YouTube channel, and all the episodes get uploaded. The last episode has not been uploaded yet, but if you'd like to catch us on there, were there, as well as the Legends of Saltmarsh from MTV. Those episodes are also there, as well as Walking with Purpose, our glassed off shopping spree, the library of Aviro, and which one of the best canon, Copier.
Oh God.
The Copier Clerk has been created. Kinko. The Copier Clerk.
Kinko. Yes, of course.
Yes, because that is what we do. We create entertainment. Any last words, anyone? Thank you so much. But anyone
Thanks
else?
for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for joining us so much. We appreciate you. Have a great and wonderful week. We will see you. It's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember exactly what we've got, depending on how things go. Watch us, or it's the 20. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to be back on the 20th of April, which is in 3 weeks. So little hiatus, but like I said, we might be coming up with some stuff in the meantime, but we'll see. We'll let you know. Those one-shots, stuff like that. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. And the thing to remember, be kind and don't be a jerk. So take care.
Bye.